Welcome to the Milk Bottle eCommerce Show, brought to you by Milk Bottle Labs, one of the world's top-rated accredited Shopify e-commerce experts. Founder Keith Matthews interviews e-commerce professionals, app developers and entrepreneurs to share as much digital knowledge and e-commerce tips and tricks as possible. This podcast is kindly supported by Rewindio, the leading backup solution for Shopify, BigCommerce, Trello and more. Let's just say it's the cheapest insurance policy you'll ever get for your Shopify store and all your valuable data. Simply go to rewind.io/milk bottle to get your first month for free. Now let's hear from Keith.
Hey folks, I am delighted to chat to Bianca Dihoiu, Head of Customer Success with Littledata. Littledata is a very popular Shopify application which provides a seamless connection between your Shopify store, your marketing channels and Google Analytics. Bianca has been developing positive customer experiences for over 7 years and is a firm believer in collaboration as a key to success. And Bianca is chatting to us today at a very important time as Google is rolling out Google Analytics 4. And it is important, if you are using any type of website, that you migrate as soon as you possibly can. So let's chat about it. Bianca, welcome. How are you?
Hey, Keith. Happy to be here. I'm good. Staying out of the heat wave and looking forward to discussing some analytics.
Like most of Europe, have you been reaching record temperatures in Romania?
Not right now, but throughout the summer, we've had some really hot days.
Is that standard in Romania?
For the last few years, unfortunately, yeah, global warming has been hitting us pretty badly with very low lows and very high highs.
Yeah. Something that we all have to get used to, I guess. Bianca, it's great to have you on. I had your founder previously on the podcast a good few episodes ago. And when we heard about the Google Analytics 4 update, the first person I thought of was, our first app that I thought of was Littledata. So I'm delighted to have you on. Bianca, prior to joining Littledata, what sort of a career did you have?
I was a project manager at the British Council in Romania, where I learned pretty much everything about everything. We were a small team of 4 people doing a lot of projects on behalf of the British Council. That's where my career started. Afterwards, it was Littledata 5 years ago.
Oh, very good. So are you with Littledata since the start of Littledata?
No, I think I joined the team 6 months after the start. We were just a team of 7 or 8 people.
Very good. So I'm assuming that you are interested in data, or is that an obvious question?
Yeah, absolutely. We eat data for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes, that's one way of describing it. Look, you would better describe what Littledata is. So, I mean, for me, it's obvious. It's a better connection for Shopify stores to get better data out of the store. But can you give us a more technical description of exactly what Littledata does?
Absolutely. So what Littledata is a lot of things, but the most important, it's an app for Shopify stores. What we do is we improve on-site tracking. We offer different connectors for the data, depending on where merchants want to send and how they want to use the data. But from a preference perspective, they still prefer Google Analytics as a destination. We provide a source of truth in Google Analytics, but also other destinations. The merchants can track everything in either Universal Analytics. They can add Google Analytics 4 for no additional cost, but they also can send their Shopify data to the Facebook Conversion API, also known as Facebook API. In a sentence, we enable store owners to get accurate marketing attribution with a lot of server-side tracking that works automatically.
And Bianca, is that because attribution at the moment is kind of a grey area? Like if you add up the attribution from Google and the attribution from Klaviyo, I actually mentioned this recently in a podcast episode, all of the percentages will probably add up to more than 100%. So by connecting to Littledata, does that mean that your attribution numbers are more accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you why. Every platform wants to claim the success for the conversion, but Google Analytics is the place where you can bring all the platforms together and decide who had what impact onto your customer converting. That's what merchants want to know. Either it was an email campaign in the search platform or a Facebook ad. They want to know which of their marketing efforts contributed to the ultimate conversion and perhaps return of the customer to their store. So that's where Google Analytics plays an important role, and Littledata, of course, because we send that data into Google Analytics. We give the fuel in order for customers to make informed decisions.
So Littledata doesn't provide a dashboard. Littledata provides a connector to analytics. And is that correct to say that users still use their Google Analytics dashboard as their source of truth?
Yeah, but we see a tendency to go to other platforms, to other destinations. The market is so competitive now, and there are so many tools available, but Google Analytics is the main one because it's also a free tool that plays an important role.
So rather than providing another dashboard service, and there's many of them, you're basically saying to customers that the Google Analytics is actually the best place to go. And what you guys do is you ensure that the data that is in Google Analytics is accurate.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. And if they want to go in a different direction or use different destinations, we support a lot of them, and we're going to support even more in the future.
Okay, very good. Bianca, let's just take a moment to listen to our sponsors. Rewindio is the leading data backup solution for your Shopify store. Did you know that there is no way of recovering lost data in Shopify? If your store is gaining traction, you may have multiple staff or third-party developers entering your store. Mistakes can happen and data can be easily deleted. Rewindio puts you in control of your data, allowing you to restore anything accidentally lost from a single image to an entire store. It acts as a pretty cheap insurance policy for your Shopify account. At Milk Bottle, we help clients reduce their business risk by installing Rewind in every single store before we make any changes. Get your first month for free by simply replying to your sign-up email. So, Bianca, what is Google Analytics 4?
Google Analytics 4 is the next generation of Google Analytics. It's a completely reimagined tool of what data collection and analysis could be. It brings together everything that worked well in Universal Analytics, but with brand new features designed to revolutionize the analytics ecosystem. I think GA4 will enable any website owner to make informed decisions based on the user behavior. And what's new? What's revolutionizing about GA4? Well, the issue previously was that stores that had both a website and an app had difficulty in merging the data. Well, GA4 is the solution to that. This will enable store owners to collect both website and app data to better understand the customer journey. What's different, again, is that it uses events instead of session-based data. That's probably one of the most dramatic changes from its predecessor.
So, Bianca, before you go there, can you explain the difference between the events and sessions?
Absolutely. So an event is pretty much anything that you interact with on a website triggers an event. So it can be a scroll, a click, starting a video, clicking a hyperlink to go to a social page. That's an event. And GA4 uses events to track the user journey. So you're being tracked by each interaction of the customer with the website. Whereas Universal Analytics with session-based data had the start when the user entered the website. That's when a session started. And everything was tracked throughout the session. But now GA4 uses events because you may leave the website at a certain point and the session would break with Universal Analytics. But with GA4, when you come back, it continues. And you have the entire user journey defined by events instead of a predefined session, which could have been 15, 5, 10 minutes.
So, Bianca, does that mean then that the reporting available then on Google Analytics 4 is better or more advanced than the current version?
Absolutely. That's the bet. That is going to provide more insights, more details, and Google Analytics users will be able to have a fuller picture of what's happening on their website.
And does it add complexity, Bianca, in terms of the setup? Obviously, there's a code drop in the site. Like when customers move to Google Analytics 4, will they have to redesign their reporting in Google Data Studio, or will they have to redesign their automated reports in Google Analytics? Is there any kind of complexity on that side?
Yes, it is. And this is probably the biggest challenge with Google Analytics 4, because users were used to the predefined reports in Universal Analytics. So you had a set of, let's say, 50 predefined reports, which were absolutely wonderful. But in GA4, you have around 15 to 20 predefined reports, but everything else is built your own. The learning curve with GA4 is going to be steeper than it was for Universal Analytics. So definitely a challenge there for both new Google Analytics users, but also the ones that had interaction with Universal and previous versions of GA.
And Google is recommending that everybody does it before the end of July. Bianca, is there a particular reason for that?
Well, they're recommending people to get on the GA4 train ASAP, because in that way they will have a bit of history. We have less than a year until Universal Analytics is set to be sunset. So Google is actually encouraging everyone to start tracking as soon as possible in order for them to have a bit of historical data until there will be no more Universal Analytics. Why is this important? Because currently, so when we're speaking, there is no way to import the data from Universal Analytics into GA4. So the only data available will be from the moment when merchants add that GA4 snippet into their code and start tracking into GA4.
The sooner you add it, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. If people need as much data as possible added into their GA4 account, then they need to add it as soon as possible. Even if it's not complete, GA4 is still in beta, which means they're still rolling out features as we're speaking. They have improvements every couple of weeks. So the data set is going to be more and more complex as we're getting to July 2023.
Okay, so anybody that doesn't install it is going to miss out. And if it's in beta, is there clear instructions in terms of the structuring and the building of those reports, or is that something that you guys are learning, that Google are rolling out? Are they drip feeding the information, or are they allowing you to train, or is it a long process then for you to fully understand its capabilities and the complexities of setting it up, or is that already public knowledge?
I'd say it is public knowledge because the raw data is probably the same. It's just the way it is transposed in the UI that's different. So the raw data, the events, naming, enhanced eCommerce, metrics, dimensions, they have brought something new to the table, but the basics of enhanced eCommerce, it's still there. So for anyone who's been doing analytics in the last few years, it's not going to be a drastic change. It's going to be some extra work. That's the reality. But it's not a new platform. It's an improved one.
Okay. So Bianca, before we go, is there anything else, any functions or anything exciting about the change, or is it simply a fundamental upgrade of Google Analytics?
I think it's an upgrade. There are a few new features, like the ability to push data into BigQuery. So there's the GA4 integration with BigQuery, which was available previously only for 360 users. But now everyone will be able to benefit from this. Oh. And there's a lot of benefit there.
Well, Bianca, look, thank you very, very much for the info. We will put links to yourself and to Littledata and as much information as we can about Google Analytics 4 into the show notes. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Kate.
Thanks for listening. All of our episodes are available on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. A special note of appreciation goes to our sponsors, Rewindio, the leading backup solution for Shopify store owners. Get your first month of Rewind for free by simply responding to any welcome email once you sign up for your free trial on Rewindio. If you're a Shopify user with an exciting story to tell, reach out to the team on podcast@milkbottlelabs.com. Until the next time, take care.